Good morning, happy Friday. Welcome to day 2, Advent of Code. Hopping in here to the Advent of Code. We're gonna do some Advent of Coding today. Hopefully get our 2 stars for the day. And then plan is to work a little bit on a Unity project I'm hoping to do for a class. I might have to stop early this morning just because I have I teach 2 classes on Friday and might need to prep for those more than I thought I might. I was looking at what I want to do today and I haven't quite prepped enough. I think I might, after Advent of Code, I might hop off and work on that. We'll see how much time it takes me to solve these puzzles. And everyone knows I like to over-engineer these. So we'll hop in here in a second. Alright, so we're on day 2. Every day we get a different puzzle, different challenge. In fact, there's 2. If you get the first one, there's a second puzzle for you. A little reward, little morsel of goodness if you solve the first one. Yeah, so let's look at this. The elves begin to set up camp on the beach. Decide whose tent gets to be closest to the snack storage. A giant rock, paper, scissors tournament is already in progress. Rock, paper, scissors is a game between 2 players. Each game contains many rounds. In each round, the players each simultaneously choose one of rock, paper, or scissors using a hand shape. When a winner for that round is selected, rock defeats scissors, scissors defeats paper, and paper defeats rock. Both players choose the same shape. The round instead ends in a draw. Appreciative of your help yesterday, one elf gives you an encrypted strategy guide. They say this will be sure to help you win. The first column is what your opponent is going to play. A for rock, B for paper, and C for scissors. The second column, suddenly the elf is called away to help with someone's tent. The second column, you reason, must be what you should play in response. X for rock, Y for paper, Z for scissors. Winning every time would be suspicious. So responses must have been chosen carefully. Oh, my mouse is dying. I might have to run and get a battery in a second. My mouse is acting up. Maybe it's not dying, maybe it's just acting. The winner of the whole tournament is the player with the highest score. Your total score is the sum of your scores for each round. The score for a single round is the score of the shape you selected. 1 for rock, 2 for paper, 3 for scissors. So the score is not just if you don't get a point if you win, you get points for what you pick. That's interesting. That means you have some level of incentive to play scissors more often than paper or rock, but if your opponent knows that, maybe they'll know to play. Okay, anyway. Plus the score for the outcome of the round. 0 if you lost, 3 if the round was a draw, and 6 if you won. Hang on, something's going on with my internet connection. Take a look here. I see. Just a second. All right, hopefully I'm back there. I was on a VPN in an alternate dimension, which was definitely affecting my internet connect. Here we are now. Also, I'm gonna have to step away just for a second. My mouse, I need to grab a new battery for my mouse. So please, please, please hold tight. I will be back as soon as... Oh wait, I got some batteries sitting right here. Look at that. Oh, they might be the wrong side. Find out. Oh, they're double A. Triple A's. Okay, I will be back. Right. Thank you for your patience. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. To you, the viewers. Without this, I would not have anywhere to put this giant ego of mine if it weren't for people watching. Too big for this room. I have to put it out into the world for it to be contained. Alright, here we go. Hopefully that works, I hope. My mouse was sort of stopping going on me. Let's see if that's better. Okay. So we're doing rock, paper, scissors, but there's special rules. It's not just rock. It's in addition to rock beats paper. Sorry, rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, paper beats rock. In addition to that, we have a point total that we're calculating. Since you can't be sure if the elf is trying to help you or trick you, you should calculate the score you would get if you were to follow the strategy guide. For example, suppose you were given the following strategy. A, Y, B, X, C, D. Strategy guide predicts and recommends the following. First round, your opponent will choose rock. You should choose paper. That ends in a win for you with a score of 8 because you chose papers. So 2 plus 6, you won, so you get 6 points. And the second one, you paper rock. Your opponent chooses paper and you choose rock, so you lose. 1 plus 0. Third round is a draw with both players choosing scissors, giving you a score of 3 plus 3 equals 6. In this example, if you were to follow the strategy, you would get a total of 15. What would your total score be if everything goes according to your strategy? Okay, so what is your score? It's not actually asking if you win. I imagine the second puzzle is going to say to try and calculate something else, but we'll start with this. We'll start with this. All right, so we're gonna make a day 2. Get checkout main. Get stash. That is. Main. Move. Get checkout main. Get pull. Okay. There, day 2. RPS. .NET new console. And we'll open this up. Create a new console project for us to diddle around in here. Okay. So, let's sure. We're going to read in an input. That looks kind of like this. We get our sample, create new file, sample txt. We need to sort of translate these to ABC is rock, paper, scissors, X, Y, X, Z. Sorry, X, Y, Z. All right, so I'm gonna be a little bit, I could do it the lazy way. All right, so we're gonna write a function real quick. ABC, so we're gonna have a function here which returns two functions. Get, so we're calculating our total score, so int get score, and it's gonna take in a char ch, and this is gonna tell us, or get shape value. All right, so we're gonna be able to pass in a ch, and it's gonna tell us the value of that shape. So I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna use a switch on this one. So I'm gonna ch switch I'm gonna say if you are a Y, sorry, if you're an X, what is it? I think it's rock, paper, scissors, rock, paper, X is a 1, Y is a 2, Z is a 3. Okay. And then we have sort of this otherwise case where we're gonna just throw an exception, invalid shape, and show this shape like that. Throw new exception. All right, so given a shape, which is a single character, tells us the value of the shape. All right, so then we need to we want to also determine if you win, draw, or lose. So we have to take in 2 shapes. So this one's a little bit trickier. So we're gonna have a win, draw, or lose, and then it's gonna be sort of your point value. Int get score. So we're gonna say char player 0, char player 1. All right. So this one's a little tricky, and I'm feeling a little bit bad that I don't go ahead. So I'm gonna take in two characters, the left side, the right side, and determine how many points I get. And so I have to sort of determine if I win. So so we'll do the win cases first. If it's a little weird to think about rock, paper, scissors as A, B, C. So I'm actually going to declare a type just to make it easier for me to think about. Enum shape. I'm supposed to be lowercase. I don't know that. I probably would have done it capital. It automatically tried to lowercase for. I'm gonna go with capital. Hang on. Let's C# style guide. C# should enums be capitalized. Naming enums usually have uppercase. Pascal case. Okay. Okay. According to the first link I found, it says Pascal case, which I have here. All right, so we're gonna go with, we've got rock, paper, and scissors. All right, I'm gonna change this. The shape. And here, yeah. So all right, we'll go with this. If it's rock, gotta do shape.rock, shape.paper, shape.scissors, invalid shape, and now we have no invalid shapes. So I can just get rid of that, I think. Although it's gonna tell me technically something could go wrong. So we'll put shape here. Invalid shape. A little weird to do that, but that's because this thing could grow. All right, so we have an enumerator type, get shape value. Now we need a thing that will translate a character to a shape. All right, so we're gonna do translate a character to a shape. Shape from char to shape, and this is gonna take in a char ch, and we're gonna return ch switch. We're gonna do a switch here again, and we've got A goes to rock, B goes to paper. C goes to scissors. We'll do X goes to rock. Y goes to shape. That paper. Z goes to scissors. And then we have throw new exception invalid shape. All right. So we can convert our characters to shapes now. You get the value of a shape, and then we have to determine, score, the score that you're gonna get. Yeah. So we sort of have like this idea of a result of a game. We have a tie, a loss, a tie, a loss, a draw, or a win. So there's various ways we can code this, and I guess we should keep track of the score for each player because I'm sort of seeing that coming. So let us do that as well. So I'm gonna have here, I'm gonna have a result type. All right, so I'm gonna create a record result. How do we make a record in C#? Int player 0 score, player 1 score. That's how we do records. Yeah, so I have this thing that's like a result. It's a little weird here. Points. Player 1 point. Player 2 points. I don't know, I'm kind of hating this here. What I'm trying to do, all right, so I want to have a method. I want to have a function called get results, and it's gonna take in two shapes, shape player 0 and shape player 1, and it's gonna tell me the results of that outcome. It's gonna tell me how many points player 0 received and how many points player 1 received. That's sort of how I want to encode this. And so maybe I was sort of thinking int, so it would give you back a pair of integers where the first one is associated with player 0, the second one's associated with player 1. That is sort of my idea here. Player 0, player 1. Yeah, so this is why I'm struggling here, because this feels not the best, but we'll do it this way for now. I guess we'll do it this way. And then we have to sort of go through all combinations of these things, which is interesting, and not the greatest. Not the greatest. Could I write? This is not my favorite. Sometimes just coming up with a nice interface is important. What would be nice if I could do p0.beats p1, and it would have a method p0 against p1, so you could do a shape versus a shape. That might be what I want. Essentially, I want to be able to read it this way. And then it'll just give you the points for that order. Yeah, so I'm just going to do it this way for now. Shape P0, P1, and it's going to give you the score for P0 score, and then you can sort of do it both ways. Yeah, so you basically determine whether or not P0 beats P1. Excuse me. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. So we have like a win, lose, or draw for this rather than doing all combinations. We can determine whether or not. So we're going to determine whether or not P0 defeats P1. I think there's a way. All right, we're just gonna do this. P0 versus P1. We're gonna have an integer. It's gonna give us the score here. So if even break it down even further, bool defeats shape P0 shape P1. Can I do this thing here? Return true. What's this saying? Okay, all right. So I'm gonna tell me I need to put this in an extension class. So we're gonna do a new thing over here called shape. Oops. Shape .cs. So I'm gonna have my enumerated types. All right, I'm gonna try something here. That my enumerated type, but I want to have a public static shape extensions. Static class. Let's see how we do here. Can I do this? Public static. I'm trying to remember how to do unused parameter P0 if it is not part of shipped. Yeah. Here, let's look at how to do extension. C# extension methods. Let's take advantage of this. We can do extension method C#. So let's look at how we do it. Okay, I did it here. I think it's just saying I'm not using it. So if so we're gonna check if P0 defeats P1. All right, so this is true if we have the following. So P0 dot or is shape dot rock. So if P0 is shape dot rock and P1 is shape dot rock beats scissors. That's still not working. Parameter type shape is less accessible than this method. Oh, public. Aha, got it. All right, so rock beats scissors. Shape dot scissors beats paper. And paper beats rock. And these parentheses aren't necessary, but I'm gonna put it in there just for clarity. Okay. All right, so now we have, if we have a thing for defeats, so if shape 1 defeats, all right. public static bool. Now we can do a thing where we say whether or not, so that we'd have like rock dot defeats paper, and that would give us a boolean. So P0 defeats P1. And if they don't defeat, then we want to be able to check if it's a draw. Draws this shape P0, shape P1, and this one is easy because we say if P0 is equal to P1. So they draw if they are the same. Right. So now we can more easily write our method here, our function, to get our results. So int get results, shape P0, shape P1, and we say if P0 dot defeats P1, we return 6. Is that right? What was the scoring? 6, yep. Else, if P0 dot draws P1, return 3. Else, return 0. And what's neat about this is these are, because we're returning, this else is unnecessary. We don't actually have to have an else there. It's sort of implied. Right, so now we have our setup here of all our methods, all of the things we need to do. So we need to be able to take our inputs and convert it to a rock, paper, scissors. We need to get a value for each shape, and then we be able to get a result or a combination of them. So with that, I should be able to write my program. So reading this in, I need to pull in several rounds. So this is several rounds that are played. So string array data equals file.read all lines on my, I'm gonna do sample.txt for now. And then we're gonna loop through it. For each string round in data, we need to separate them by a space. So we're gonna do round.split on a space. Split optional might just be on a white space, yeah. So this is gonna give us our pieces like this. It should be a string array. Okay. But I also want to convert each thing into character. So I'm just gonna do s goes to s at 0. So we're gonna take the first character of each one. And this is going to give us back, and then we want to turn it into a shape. So then we'll do get shape value. That cannot convert from char to shape. Oh, or char to shape. All right, so now this is going to be, we could do this here on this side, just say, oh, this is a thing. But I know that it is essentially a list of, all right. It should be two. It should be two pieces. Yeah. Dot to array. All right, so this is going to be a shape array that happens to be of size 2. So shape opponent equals pieces of 0. Shape player equals pieces at 1. So we got our opponent's piece, we got our our shape. Let's rename this shape. It's a terrible name. Shapes. So opponent player, and then our score for this round is going to be get shape value of player. This is going to be our shape, so I need a total int total score. Starts at 0. We're going to do our total score is increased by the value of our shape, and then it's also increased by the results of player versus, yeah, so you put the person you want the score on the left, player versus opponent. Okay, the way we've written this is given player 0 and player 1 returns the score that player 1 will receive from that result. Okay, and at the end of the day, we're gonna do console.writeLine total score, and let's see what a result was. .NET run. I got a syntax error somewhere. No semicolon here. Zero. Interesting. Something that is not. Total score. All right. Let's see what's happening here. Work our way through it. Sample.txt is empty. All right, so now it makes sense. I didn't fill this up. 15. That's sort of what we thought we would get here. So I feel semi-confident. This gives me a little bit of confidence that my input's gonna work here. So let's save the big input into Advent of Code 2022 day 2 input. Let's make our program read it. Input.txt. 10,718. Let's see how we did. Hey, we get 1 gold star. Feeling pretty good. Let's keep moving. We're gonna continue to part 2. Part 2. The elf finishes helping with the tent and sneaks back over to you. Anyway, the second column says how the round needs to end. X means you need to lose. Y means you need to end the round in a draw. And Z means you need to win. Good luck. Okay. All right. So it's not the original thing that we thought. That's cool. So they it's not what I was thinking. The total score is still calculated the same, but now you need to figure out which shape to choose so the round ends as indicated. The example above now goes like this. In the first round, your opponent will choose rock, and you need to end the round in a draw. So you will also choose rock. This gives you a score of 1 plus 3 equals 4. In the second round, your opponent will choose paper, and you choose rock, so you will lose. The third round, you will defeat your opponent's scissors with rock for a score of 1 plus 6 equals 7. Ooh, this is a fun little puzzle that they have us come up with. All right, so we have to decide. So this, I guess we can leave this. Excuse me. We need to decide now. All right, so this isn't quite gonna work the way we. All right, we need to update this. All right, so I'm gonna commit this. Get status. Get add status. Make sure I'm adding in. Yeah. Get commit -m chore finished part 1. All right, so this is part 1. We're gonna wrap this in a method here. Void part 1. Like that. And then void part 2. and we'll call part 2 here. We need to, instead of calculating a result like this, we need to whatever your total score be if everything goes according to the strategy guide. Okay, so we need to instead determine so we have a shape. We need to be able to figure out what beats it, what draws it, and what loses against it. So I'm going to come back over here to my extension methods, and I'm going to given a shape, I'm going to have a similar static method. Rather than having taken 2, I'm going to have another method, static shape defeats. So given a shape, return the shape that defeats it. So in this case, we're gonna do a switch on our P0. So if P0 is a rock, what defeats rock? Paper. We're gonna get paper back. If we're paper, we're gonna get scissors back, and if we are scissors, we're gonna get rock back. And if we're not any of those things, we are gonna throw a new exception saying something terrible has gone wrong, so this just shouldn't happen. Something terrible has gone wrong, but let's do a reasonable error message. And so this error message will be could not find shape that defeats P0. All right, so this would essentially happen if we modify the enumerated type but don't update this section. Okay. Let's also add in, so we got to add one in for draws and then also in for ties, and ties becomes really easy. Draws becomes easy. So public static shape loses defeats what would be the opposite of defeats, loses to this shape P0. All right, so we're gonna have something that's, I guess I don't need P0 anymore. This should, and I don't know, I'm calling it P. Let's rename this. Better name would be shape. All right, we're gonna do something similar to this. In this case, our rock, hang on. Rock defeats scissors. All right, someone should have been yelling at me. Rock defeats scissors. Paper defeats rock. And scissors defeats paper. Okay. And now we have loses too. So rock loses to paper. Paper loses to scissors. Scissors loses to rock. And public static shape draws. Draws 2 just gives itself back. So we don't even need to do that. Okay, so we have these methods which allows us to determine which shape we should choose. Which shape we should choose to get the outcome that we want. So now we need to have something that takes in the outcome. So we need to have something that tells us what outcome we want. Yeah, so let's make another enumerated type called outcome. I think that's what we want. Yeah. This is getting overkill. Again, we're overkilling here. Enum outcome. And our outcomes are win, draw, lose. Okay. We have win, we have draw, we have lose. And this needs to go later. Rit, happy Friday, my friend. Or I hope it's, I don't hope it's Friday, but I hope it's a happy day. Not sure where you are in the world, whether or not it's Friday, Saturday, I don't know. I'm ignorant of these things, and I feel a little bit bad about it. Keith, Not overkill, similar. Yeah, so the you know, you could, rather than trying to log it, I'm not trying to code golf. I'm not trying to keep trying. I'm trying to make it so we can think through this all together. So we have our outcomes: win, lose, draw. So the reason I'm saying it's maybe a little overkill here is because I could just have a thing that says, if it's Y, do this. If it's X, do this. If it's Z, do this. But, you know, sometimes it's nice to be able to read your code and have it be, you know, more understandable. Yeah. So code golfing, if you can, it's like, all right, can I write this in 7 characters? You know, so APL and Haskell and stuff tend to be super small. If I was doing this in Haskell, it'd also be verbose in the. I'd feel like I'm not Haskelling quite right. All right, so I have my type outcome, and then I want to. So here's the interesting thing. I'm doing overkill, but I'm also not. I'm also doing it all in like kind of one file. Is it P1 or P2? Yeah. So this is my least favorite thing. Get given a shape for 2 players, P0 and P1, returns the number of points that P0 would receive. All right, so this is a gross one here. I had to put this in 2 files. I guess I didn't have to because of the way I did this. This should probably be separated a little bit just for clarity. That's okay. All right. I need to get char to outcome. Yeah, so we're gonna do shape. Oh, this is part 2. I did part 1, finished part 1. I'm on to part 2 here. And when I'm done, I'll go through and I'll explain my part 1 and part 2 again, I suppose. So we have char to outcome. All right, so our outcomes are, if we have an X, we should, what did they say? X means you lose. A Y means you draw. And a Z means you should win. All right, so these are the desired outcomes. And if you're not, oh, this should be an outcome, not a shape. Outcome. And if you're not any of these things, well, something terrible has gone wrong. Throw new exception. Could not convert char ch2 outcome. So suppose it's not overkill, it's just better practices is what I should say. Since people are chatting, I'll bring this over here so that I can ignore it. Ignore it on the screen. Oh, no semicolon. You're not a semicolon. Thank you. Yeah, so the switch expression gets me every time. Yeah, this is essentially like pattern matching in other languages. Okay, so we have to parse our input here. So it's gonna be similar to this thing here. We're gonna do for each string round in data. We need to pull each component out. So string, a naming is bad, pair. He goes round dot split like this. And so now we're gonna have shape opponent equals pair of 0 of 0. So the character there, and we're gonna do char to shape like this. Let me shrink that down so people can actually see the chat. My face is in. Beautiful. There we go. Char to shape, and then we're gonna say outcome. Outcome equals char to outcome. Pair 1 0 like this. right? And then we need to decide what to do here. So we're gonna say, let's see, what should I do? What should I do? Shape. So here's what I'm gonna do. Shape player is equal to, based on the outcome switch. All right, so we're gonna pick a shape based on the outcome. And so if we have outcome dot win, if we want to win, we should have it be opponent dot loses to. So this will get us the shape that our opponent loses to. If our outcome is a draw, we should just be the same thing as our opponent. And if the outcome that we want is a lose, we need to get the outcome that would cause the opponent to defeat us. And if the outcome wasn't a win, draw, or a lose, something terrible has happened. So we'll throw an exception saying that could not determine outcome. No semicolon. I almost did it again. And then we have these two things. Total score, int total score equals 0. And console dot write line total score. All right. Logically, this makes sense. I hope all the extra engineering I did around it made it so that comes out well. They don't give us any more example, but let's run it on our sample just to give us a little bit of confidence here. And honestly, I should probably print out various things just to make sure, give myself again. So we'll do a little bit of diagnostic here. Keep track of the round number. Int round equals 0. I guess we start at round 1. Console.writeLine round console.writeLine opponent chooses opponent chooses this. We want to outcome, so we choose player. Right. All right, let's see what that looks like in our run here. I got and then we got to do round plus plus. Let's rename this round number. Here we go. Rit solved it in JavaScript. Nice. Okay, so let's just read through this, make sure it makes sense here. Opponent chooses rock. We want to draw. Rock, we want to draw. So we choose rock. Opponent chooses paper. We want to lose. So we choose rock again. Opponent chooses scissors. We want to win. So we choose rock. We need a total of 12. We did it in completely different ways. Rit, would you be willing to share your solution? I'd be happy to check it out if you're willing. You don't have to. So essentially building out the types. This is a semi-object oriented way. I didn't use objects. I used enumerated types. But let's do it on our input and see how we did here. $14,625. All right, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, so Rit, that you used nested arrays, I'm assuming, to like pull things out. You did like some kind of loop that examines each thing and determines outcome. That's essentially what I'm doing here. I'm just extracting it out individually to keep it so that I am managing the complexity. As a programmer, as a software engineer, I often just the thing I want to do is manage complexity so that my brain can continue to handle any complexity that I've built. All right, happy with that. Building up, looks like a beach here. This looks like water and a beach. I'm excited to see what the rest of the picture is. Thank you, Rid. I appreciate it. But that's my C# solution. The way I always want to go through and engineer. Oh, let's do a commit real quick. Git status, git add, chore complete, day 2, part 2. Okay, so I completed day 2, part 2. And I'm pretty happy with it. Pretty happy with what I got here. It's all about how am I gonna model this problem rather than just, all right, let me run through it and solve it using character and stuff. So how do I want to model this problem? So that's why I say it's a little bit overkill potentially for, the level of difficulty of this problem. I don't think this was a super challenging problem, which is great. It was fun though. I enjoyed it. I might abstract this a little bit into yeah, definitely feels a little, to me, a little bit overkill for the problem statement. But this gives me like a framework to build. If I wanted to make like a rock, paper, scissors game, this might be pretty good to do it. Get shape value. So I think I'm gonna do a little bit more overkill here, and I'm gonna start putting the rest of in this shape extensions. I'm gonna write some more stuff to make it a little bit more quote unquote object oriented. I want to be able to call the methods a little bit better. So one of the things I want to do is, instead of char to shape, I want to do to shape like this. So I want to add an extension that, given a character, I can and turn it into a shape. So I'm going to convert this here in my shape extensions. I'm gonna make this a public static this. So this is gonna make it so that way I can do, oh, this is interesting. Yeah. S.to shape S of 0 to shape. Maybe? What did I call it? Can I not do this? Can I not add this? Char does not contain definition to shape. What did I call it? Oh, I need to get rid of char at the beginning. To shape. There we go. So now character has this extension that says to shape. I'm gonna do the same thing for outcome. Public static to outcome, and I'll update this here to say that I'm gonna take this thing and convert it to an outcome. So I'm simply, I want the final result to read really easily. Oh, I need to put this in here. What's the error? Timer is less acceptable than. Oh, I need to make my outcome public. There we go. And shape. All right, so I'm gonna again. I want to make this player.getValue. So I'm just sort of converting these into methods on the type there. Loses to get value, public static. It's a nice feature of C#. Languages like Java don't support this sort of extension function. So this becomes player.getValue. I know. Is it okay if I call you Z, or how would you pronounce it? Zere? I'm not sure, but yeah. I'm going through. I'm trying to make it feel like the solution. You know, a good object-oriented array. All right, perfect. A good way to I teach programming, and I have to read lots and lots of student code, right? This is not you're right, Keith. This is not object oriented. It's more in the sense I'm trying to make it easier to read. So what's interesting here is these are actually enumerated types. In Java, I would write them as methods. It'd be semi-object oriented, but the idea is making it so that I have methods. I want to use methods rather than functions to make it a little bit more readable. My goal here is readability. If someone were to look at this, they should go, oh, okay, that's what doing. To shape. Okay, I'm getting the shape from that. Oh, I'm getting the desired outcome. I would love to. Yeah, Ray. I would love to. I'd love to. Keith sent me theirs as well. I'm gonna. I should probably look at Keith's as well. Yeah, if you wanted to send it to me, I could rate it. I don't know how qualified I am to actually rate much of anything, but I'd be happy to look at it. I do have to stop here in about 20 minutes. I think I teach 2 classes today, and I got to prep for those after this. But I thought I'd try and squeeze this in this morning. Yeah. So again, here I want to do just for readability, because what does it mean? Get results player, opponent might not make a whole lot of sense, but player dot score against opponent might just read a little bit better than get results. So this is telling me that I get the score player score against or points against might read a little bit better. So I'm just sort of cleaning in my brain. I don't know how much cleaning up this is actually doing, but in my my lizard brain, you might say, it feels like I'm doing. It feels like I'm making it easier to read, but I'm probably not. So the fact that I'm putting these in these weird static things, sort of says you gotta understand this code. You're gonna have to understand that it's not an object, it is this extension method. When I called it points against. And these are probably bad naming conventions. Should probably be get points against if I really wanted to do proper name points against opponent. Okay, so the idea here is it just sort of reads nicely. I want it to read nicely, and let me put my enum over in this file. Okay. All right, not horrible. Sadly, I didn't save my solution. I just wrote JavaScript code to find the answer, then submit. I guess I have to save them on the days and parts. Yeah, you know, just for a little bit of housekeeping, so you can go back. As a programmer, it's always really nice, especially in the beginning times, and even now, to be able to go back and look at how much you've progressed. Say like, oh, this is the solution I wrote back then. It's nice to see a progression on yourself. Ray, yours is the most unreadable thing ever. Well, you know, as long as you're the only, as long as no one else has to read it. Sometimes Ray's wants me to do. You want me to rate your code, but now you're telling me it's unreadable. Oh. Let's take a look at. Oh, let's commit this again. And I guess if I'm a good programmer, I add in documentation. Yeah. Yeah, so determines the number of points that player shape, opponent shape, points that a player scores against an opponent. All right. Determines the value of this shape. Yeah, day 3 won't be out for 16 more hours. Every day it comes out at the same time. If you're super, I'm not staying up that late. If you're super competitive, you might count down, and as soon as it comes out, try and get in the fastest so you can get some points. I'm not feeling particularly competitive. Converts this character to a shape. Throws an exception if the character is not one of A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Say converts, yeah. Converts this character to an outcome. Throws an exception if char is not one of X, Y, Z. I don't even think I use this anymore. Apparently I do use it somewhere. Ah, I do use it there. That makes sense. Ray, here's my unreadable junk. Yeah, I've gotten to a point in my life. I used to when I was in undergrad, I was so into diving in and really trying hard. I guess you might call me a tryhard back in my college days of really trying to do this stuff. I remember doing Facebook Hacker Cup. Lots of stuff on Code Chef, but competitive programming. And I would be intense about it. I'd be, all right, here we go. Midnight's coming up. I'd stay awake till it popped up. I feel like I'm too old for that now. I get up early. It's 5:40, almost 6 a.m. here. I've been up since about 4, and that means I go to bed at like 8, 9 a.m. Returns true if this shape draws against the opponent's shape. All right, let's name these better. Player, opponent. We're gonna look at it in a second. I'm just finishing up this documentation. Finishing up the documentation here. Determines, let's see, shape loses to which shape would defeat this shape. All right, that feels a little, determines which shape would defeat this shape, but I think it loses to determine which shape would defeat this shape. I guess that comment kind of makes determines which shape loses to this shape. And then finally, yeah, if I was trying to be competitive and quick, I would not be doing all of this frameworking. If I want to do it quick, I probably would have just done a quick loop and really parse through and check things, but I'm going for the quote unquote engineered, over-engineered approach, I suppose. And it's not, I feel like this is a little nice balance between being too engineered and a little bit engineered. Determines returns true if this shape would defeat the opponent's shape. Player, opponent. All right, so we got shape extensions, and I should probably make another class. I should actually create a file called outcome. And move all of my outcomes into that. So outcome, and then do an outcome extensions, public static outcome extensions, static class, and the ones that use outcome like that, and the care that's care to outcome, the outcome. That's it. Okay. All right, I cleaned it up. Let's take a look. Let me do a commit real quick. Git status, git add, git status, make sure. Yeah, git commit, docs, add, clean up, outcome, shape, and add documentation. Beautiful. All right, let's check it out here. Ray. Nice. Okay. Yeah, this is a nice, this would be like a competitive solution that we want. I love it. Because you're really taking advantage of things like select, to array. So using higher order functions to really compute through what you're doing. I love it. So you're saying, okay, we go through. I don't love using the bare thing here in C#. That always drives me a little bit crazy, but no biggie. So we go through var x. Okay, so this thing, you pull out each character. Nice. Okay, so you pull out the first character and you subtract a, so you get, because you know you're using, you're using ASCII encodings to your advantage. Let me zoom in here so people can see it on my screen. ASCII encodings to your advantage, so you know that if you subtract a, you're going to get a value back that is like a number that you're going to be able to use, like 0, 1, or 2. Same thing here for the second input. Ooh, and you did a clever thing. I actually really like this. I wish I had done this. I had done a split here. I really like what you've done with this. Just pulling out the specific letter. I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna totally steal that right now. So much better than what I did. I like this so much, I'm stealing it. I wish I had thought of it. All right, so we know that everything is gonna be 3 characters wide. So I can say, oh, well, give me the first character, give me the third character. Boom, I'm stealing it. Opponent. All right, I'm stealing it. I like it. I like it so much, I'm taking it. So we're gonna say round 0.2 shape. Round 1. Round 2.2 shape. I love it so much, I'm stealing it. Let's make sure these still produce proper outputs. Okay. And part 1. Yeah, it's definitely gonna get harder as time goes on. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the harder puzzles. On my YouTube channel, I haven't posted any of the harder ones, but I want to like start building up more challenging ones next term. So starting in the winter term in January, I'm teaching a class on competitive programming. So I've been trying to build up puzzle videos that I can get to my students. They're younger, so I can't be too competitive, but we're gonna talk about how to loop them down. This goes for 25 days. So Advent calendars are I believe they're based on Christmas. I don't know. I've only seen them around Christmas. And so December 1st through 25th, the calendars that I had when I was a kid would be these little houses, and you'd open up and there'd be candy inside. Yeah, the timing on them is bad for me. 10 p.m. for me, but I'm asleep by then 90% of the time. I'm loving this solution, by the way. This is, so I love the cleverness of this solution, the taking advantage of this that you've done here. Yeah. So you go through, so you're pulling that stuff out, and then you just say, okay, give me A, give me B. You calculate the score for that round, and then you sum it up. I like the multiply by 3. And then for your second one, oh, beautiful. Ray, I actually really love this solution. It's not easy to read. This is a great solution that is clever and short and concise. This is a very functional programming solution, and I love it. This would be something similar to something I'd probably write in Haskell. So thank you for sharing it, Ray. I really appreciate it. And good job with it. But yeah, this is my over-engineered, I'm gonna call this my over-engineered solution that is all about how do we model this data. Oh, I know you didn't write it to teach people. That's sort of what I'm going for here. Is so how do we approach these problems? And then once your frontal, what is you've developed. I was gonna say your frontal lobe, but it's not anything. Once your brain has developed these, what's the word? Computational thinking skills. Once you're able to model it this way, and think through the problem and say, how can I take this data and model it? You can start. It's easier to start seeing this type of solution. Love it. All right, everyone. I've been streaming. Normally I go 2 hours, maybe longer, but this morning, Fridays are hard for me because I teach 2 classes on Fridays, and I usually like to prep in the morning. So I do have to pop off. Doing it in F sharp might be fun. Let me look at Keith's. Sorry, I didn't get around to yours. Keith, I have 3 minutes here, so I'm gonna go and look at this. All right, cool. So I don't feel so bad that. Oh, that's clever. I like what you did here with rock, setting rock to 1, so you can probably use that specifically as a score. So 1, 2, 3, because it normally starts at 0. I like that. 2 RPS. So this is similar to what I did. So I have this switch here that pulls out. So I pulled mine out into like individual functions, broke it down into piece by piece, and then results. Oh, these are just local functions. Local functions. Nice. So we're gonna read it in. We're gonna, this essentially is parsing through, pulling everything out. And then the inverse. Okay, so I like this. This is the defeats method that I wrote. Result of 2 people. Given around, what's the result? Then we have our score. Yep, so we have, this is very, very similar. I like where I never know if it's a good thing or a bad thing when someone has such a close solution to me. I really like it though. Very readable, be very easy to clean up and engineer it out. Yeah. Keith, great job on this one too. Like you said, we have very, very similar outcomes as far as the code goes. All right, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been fun this morning. I try to stream every morning. If you want to know when I'm streaming, be sure to follow me. But I won't be offended if you don't follow me. I just want to let you guys know if you want to. Oh, Keith, thank you for the follow. If you want to see when I'm going live, just follow me. And Ray, thank you also for the follow. I will probably be on again tomorrow morning, my time. So whatever time it is for you, it'll probably be around this time. I like to get up, wake up and code, get my brain moving for the day before I have some work to do. As always, have a beautiful day. It's been wonderful, and you're welcome back anytime. See ya.